Yeah. Barakatah Yahawah. Barakatah Yahawashi. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. Hey, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners, whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To your sisters, you yahawah, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This is your brother Aram Yahawah with the lesson.
I'm mentally preparing myself because I know for a fact something is about to happen. The UK just made it mandatory for their citizens to have digital IDs. And if they don't have digital IDs, then they have problems. They're making it where if they don't have digital IDs, they won't be able to work. Then what's going to happen after that? They won't be able to buy food. Then what's going to happen after that? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen after that. Right now, they're saying that they're seizing everyone's bank account in the UK that doesn't have the digital ID. What does that tell you? Then I want you to think. Just think for a second. Usually, when things like this happen in other countries, it's just a test to see if it'll work in other countries. Now you got to ask yourself, what country is next? Right. But then I want you to dig a little bit deeper. Grab your Bible. And I need you to just think about the mark of the beast. Take your time. Not saying that's what it is, but just think about it. Think about all the shit they're trying to introduce. Think about why they want to introduce it. Think about the control they'll have if they introduce it and we accept it. You thinking? Yeah, all right.
In the UK, currently, BibleGateway.com is offline.
Interesting. No longer can we access the Bible online through the Bible Gateway.
Technical difficulties, they say.
All of a sudden, finished. Is no longer. In the UK and EU, no one can now access it.
You know that they just made an announcement, I think, the last week or two, that you must have a digital ID by the end of this parliament.
You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
And now, mysteriously, they're having a technical difficulty with Bible Gateway. Listen, I'm not a fan of Bible Gateway anyway, because Bible Gateway doesn't even host the Restored Names Bible. It doesn't even host the Sefer. It doesn't host the Alleluia Scriptures. The books that have the real names in them. Not the false names like J-E-S-U-S. I'm talking the real names like Yahuwah, Yahusha, the real name of Joshua, Yahusha. It's eye-opening, and it shows us what the...
You've had a good run, but it's over. Jesus, you're done. The people don't want to hear it no more. So they're saying that the UK is making a law to ban preaching and distributing Bibles. Oh, they got your ass. Here, you can see a street preacher being arrested. But brother, it's not about banning Jesus. It's these men with the speakers. You have to understand. Some people just want to sit down and watch the birds. They don't want to hear that they're going to hell if they don't accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior. I know you're trying to save lives and you're trying to save souls, but brother, sometimes it's a bit rough. I don't believe that Jesus is banned. The wording has been incorrect. It's the street preachers with the microphones saying, Jesus died for you.
Britain has banned the worship of Jesus, whether you're worshiping him, praying, fellowship, anything, any kind of gathering to do with Jesus, reading the word, all that stuff. And it's a minimum of 2 years in prison. And, you know, the people who actually pull the strings behind the shadows want that across the entire world. That's their end game. But let something be known. We have something in the United States called arms. And all the Christians of today aren't the same as what they were back in the day. We don't bend the knee. Not everybody turns the other cheek. And some of us just don't care to follow the rules. So if you want to meet Jesus yourself, or Satan, whoever you serve, we'll just fill you full of holes like Swiss cheese. And you can meet him if you ever try some dumb shit like that over here. So that's just a little public service announcement. We know it's coming at some point, but just try your luck. Try that.
Yeah, so this is Psalms 137 and 1 says, by the rivers of Babylon, right? Which we know that's the daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great. And rivers are known for what? For having rich soil. It also allows drinking water, right? So it's like that provision, right? And being where we're at in Babylon, the daughter of Babylon is our enemy. The Lord said you should go to your enemy for want of all things. So that's where we're at. We're in this place by the rivers of Babylon, where our nourishment comes from them, right? From our enemy. It says there we sat down through what? Through the conquering of our lands, right? And one way or another we suffered, whether, because the conquering of our land, the conquering of our people, enslavement, right? Whether you got your land taken or you got taken from a land, you got brought here that you may serve your punishment. So Judah and Ephraim will be oppressed together, which is basically prophecy, right? But we sat down, we're under these Jim Crow loitering laws, red the redlining, integration, not segregation, but integration was a punishment to us. It destroyed us. It actually brought us down, right? Because segregation, there were at least 90% of women had their own husbands. 90% of families had a father and a mother. They had the family nucleus. It was there. It was set. Though we didn't have the full breadth, most people believed in God. Most people went to church. Most people taught the entire Bible. They taught from the old to the new, right? They were teaching in the volume of the book in that time. But somehow through integration, all of a sudden everybody's just hung up on the New Testament. All the love, and the laws are done away doctrines, right? So that brought us down, right? Not to mention what the heroin and the crack epidemic, those are things that brought us down. There we sat down. That's what we were down. Yea, we wept, right? You know what I mean? And there was definitely weeping, but this weeping is saying we wept when we remembered Zion. See, and this is a weeping of basically complaints, because it tells you, was it in Ezekiel? Is it Ezekiel 9? So those that were how I go. Matter of fact, let's get it real quick. Yeah. So this is Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4. It says and Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash said unto him, right, which is the angel, go through the midst of the city, which that city is Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, through the midst of Jerusalem, right, which were a people before a place, were in the city of Babylon, going amongst Jerusalem, which is the people, were people before a place, right, and set a mark, right, which is the Thawah, right, upon which is a mark of exemption, which is spiritual, right, upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry, which that goes back to the law, because you would have 2 goats or 2 sheeps, and you have the scapegoat, right, and you'll put a mark upon the one that you let go, the scapegoat, right, and then you have one for the sacrifice, right, but there'll be a mark upon the scapegoat. So it said put a mark, right, basically saying you're for the scapegoat, right, upon the foreheads of the men that sigh. See, going into that weeping, that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And saying that's the remembrance of Zion. That's what we're weeping for all the abominations through the Jim Crow, the slavery, the abominations, the heroin epidemic, the crack epidemic, right? Right? All these different things, You know, we can go on and so forth, especially when dealing with Esau. There's so many abominations in this place of America to weep and cry over, right? Okay, yeah. So come back here to basically Psalms 137 and 2. That says we hung our harps, and harps is for music, for melody, right? Song, right? And like David played the harp for King Saul, and it basically relieved those demons off of him, right? Which is pretty much kind of like what we're doing. We're trying to remove the demons off of us, right? You know, off us personally, and us away from trouble, from demons, from the spiritual or the physical counterpart of Satan, right? Because we're fighting them on all levels, right? We have the spiritual demon Satan that comes against us, and we got the physical counterpart of Satan that comes against us. So we're singing this song, the new song, which really is a revived song, right? Kainos, a refreshing upon the willows, right? And willows is like a tree, and it's like it drops the sap stuff down, like it looks like it's crying, right? So this represents us crying here in Babylon, right? We're still crying, and we're crying for the abominations that be done thereof. We're crying about, everything that they've done us, from slavery to what they're about to do, right? The drones and the biochemical warfare, right? The charagma, man. Hey, can't forget that, right? We gotta cry. They about to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma, karakas, grapho, right? We gotta be weeping, man, crying in the midst of them, in the midst of where? Of the daughter of Babylon, right? Right? Because even though it's for the world, the concentration of this whole story and of Yahweh's anger is focused on this place right here, Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. For there, they that carried us away captives required of us a song, and say now they're getting a song, but they're not too happy that they're getting a song. They requested it, and now we're singing it, right? The new song, right? Correctly, right? Because it says, and they that wasted us, right, through the crack epidemic, through the war on gangs, war on drugs, you know what I'm saying? Just everything, man. Just everything they ever done. Gentrification, everything, man. Just all these things they've done to us, man. Right? It's it's crazy. It says yeah, and they waste us, man, do all these different things, right? And the crazy thing is because through the integration is where it hurts us the most, man. Right? When we had the nucleus, the family, before integrating, when we were segregated, it was the best. It was the best. We needed that, right? But it's all to fulfill the will of the Father, Yahawashi, says of us, mirth, right? And yeah, request of us mirth, right? And that's kind of like that whole thing, bread and circus, right? You have these entertainments, basketball, football, movies. You had these different things to so-called bring you mirth, right? Even though so-called plantation Christianity, right, to bring you mirth, and sing us one of the songs of Zion, right? And that's this they didn't know what they were asking for. So now we're singing the song of Zion. We're actually singing the song of Zion, and they're not liking it too well. They requested it, and now we're singing it, right? It says, how shall we sing Yahawah song in a strange land? Hey, and that was the time of not knowing, right? The book was sealed, right? You had it says, what says, take it to one that is learned, and he say, I cannot, it is sealed. And take it to one that is unlearned, and he said, I cannot, because I am unlearned. And there was a time where it was sealed. It was, and a lot of people wasn't learned, but now it's being taught. They requested it, and now we're singing it, ultimately, right? Which also that goes into like them wanting us to just, have nothing and be happy, basically. Just sing a song, sing that Kumbaya, my Lord. That plantation Christianity with no understanding. God loves the world, God saves everybody, right? But they made a request, and a true song, that all caps, is Yahawah. So the true song of Yahawah is through his only begotten Son, which is a Hebrew Israelite whose feet are the color of brass as if it burnt in a furnace, and has woolly hair, which we call a so-called black man, right along with the Father, going into Daniel 7 and 9, whose hair is of pure wool. So we know under the understanding that the God of the Bible is a so-called black man. So when we sing this song, and then we sing it, it's for Israel, it's for the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, right? They made a mistake asking us for a song, right? Because now we're singing it. It says, what was I saying? What was that? Because it was sealed. It was like it was sealed at the time. It says, if I forget thee, O Jerusalem, so saith the Lord forgot us. Which that was the time that the thing was sealed. But the Lord, he ain't going to forget us, right? Not forever. There was just a time. It says, let my right hand forget her cunning, right? Which is talking about all her atrocities, which is talking about her, which is Babylon. So if the Lord just forget about us, then he's going to forget about all the atrocities that America's done. But that's what this devil think. He think that the Lord's just going to forget about everything that he's ever done, and there's no judgment for it, right? But that's not the case, right? It says, if I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth, right? So basically, we know that's not happening. Why? Because the truth is back in the earth. The song is being sung once again, right? It says, if I prefer not Israel above my chief joy. So, he said, well then, let me, if not, then if I don't prefer Israel above my chief joy, let my tongue cleave to my, Israel is his joy, right? It's his chief joy, right? Right here. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 16 says, in that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, which is all 12 tribes, here in the daughter of Babylon in America, this place that where they wasted us, they put us down, they constantly just, even to this very day, they're after us, right? They send forth ICE and all these other different agencies to come up against us, the Lord said, what? Fear thus not. See, even though this is all happening, we don't got time to fear. Don't fear. And to Zion, let not thy hand slack. So we're constantly doing the work, right? We're singing the song, right? So we're out here we're not letting our hand slack. So we're going to keep up doing these digital epistles, right? We're going to let it be heard until Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi be appraised in the earth. Let our hands not slack. It says, Yahawah, thy power, right? Which is Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, thy power is in the midst of thee, is mighty, right? He's going to send forth his son, Yahawashi, and he's going to show the might of Yahawah, right? He will save, he will rejoice over thee with joy. See, he's happy, man. He's always going to have that joy for Israel, for Jerusalem, for his people, right? Especially, of course, the elect, right? which is going to bring back all of Israel, because that's the whole thing, is to have all of Israel be able to actually finally have that rest, that Idan, right, the way it was meant to be, right? The sons of God to rule over the world and subdue it, right? Which that's what's going to happen. Yahawashi is coming back to subdue the entire earth, right? And it says he will rest in his. Whoa, I can't make that up because I didn't even think of it like that. I was just coming to this thing, hey, exactly. Yeah. And he will rest in his love, right? The kingdom, right? That's that rest. He will rejoice over thee with singing. See? That's the one I was, whoo. Yeah, that's fire. See, I didn't even, whoo. Yeah. Right? Because we're singing his song. So later, he's going to sing, Yahweh's going to sing a song for us. Right? Man, it's going to be beautiful. Which is not literally singing, but it's just the things, the gifts and the things that the Lord is going to show you when you. One of the scriptures says that, but before you finish praying, it's going to be answers. It's like the Lord singing to you. It's going to be like, you ever heard they say good news? It's like music to my ears, and that's what this is. This is good news, and it's music to our ears, right? Yeah, I'm just going to continue here real quick. It says, remember, O yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, the children of Edom, right? The self-proclaimed so-called white man, all 5 tribes and the grandson, right? Right. In the day of Jerusalem, right, where people before a place, who said, race it, right? They said to basically destroy us, devour us, wipe us completely out. That was their hope, even to the foundation thereof. Like so there's no, there's no way for us to ever come back. There's no way for us to ever exist again. Basically, they want to wipe us out, so we didn't exist anymore, right? Because the foundation is for something for you to build. You could wipe something out, but if there's a foundation, you could build again. But that's the reason why our foundation is Yahawashi. So we're building again on Yahawashi, right? Not a temple made with hands, right? The temple is these lively stones that you see all over the world with these digital epistles and going out on the highways and the byways showing forth their faith. It says, "O daughter of Babylon," I just brought this out to show that this is talking about the daughter of Babylon, which is Edom, which is synonymous with Edom, which is the self-proclaimed so-called white man, who are to be destroyed. Hey, you are going to be destroyed. Happy shall he be, right? Rejoice. And then the Lord says he's going to rejoice and sing a song over Israel, over Jerusalem, right? Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thus has served us, right? So you gave us cargo slave ships, Jim Crow laws, sexual transmitted diseases, smallpox, blankets, disease blankets, right? You gave us, man, fluoride waters and GMO foods and what's the thing? Because most of that stuff comes from them jump shots. What was that when their what was that called? Autistic. You gave us autistic children because you putting the thing in the kid before they even develop, which really didn't need any of that. They're the healthiest they could ever be, freshly born without any disease or anything. They're good. They didn't need your man-made things, Yeah. So this is Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 26. It says, "I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thus shall be dumb, and shall not be to them a reprover," right? To show them the right way, to reprove your thoughts, your ways, right? Tell you, hey, you're thinking wrong, you're behaving wrong, right? Can't reprove you, right? Which that's ultimately what they're doing, right? They want to take away the ability of the prophets to speak, right? Right? For they are a rebellious house, right? Which is talking about the nation of Israel, but Esau is definitely a rebellious house as well, right? So Esau and 2/3 of the Lord's own people are a rebellious house, right? Yeah. So this is Amos chapter 8, verse 11. It says, behold, the days come, right? And behold, which means feast your eyes to look, pay attention. Saith the outer one, most high power, Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, that I will send a famine in the land. What land? Well, really all the world, but the main place the Lord's destruction is here in Babylon the Great, but it's in all the world because that's why it's already starting in other places. And like the guy was saying, hey, you know where else where it's coming, right? Famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham or QaDash, right? So there's going to be a famine on hearing the word, and this is by way they're going to bring it, right? Being that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? You know, digital IDs, having full power over the internet, and then being able to, you're going to have to log in with your digital ID into the internet, and then they can tell what you're looking up. If you're trying to do this or do that, and now they can arrest you or fine you, or even just cut you completely off from society. And then at that point, you've already gotten the charagma, so you're destroyed anyway. You know, they say that the homeless population in China is something ridiculous, because all the people who don't follow this social credit score is at the bottom, and there's no way for them to get back up. There's no way for them to come out of that, right? They're the social on-scouring of their society. And that's what you would be, especially getting the charagma on top of it, right? Because the Lord is going to destroy those who receive that mark, right? It says, and which the digital, let's get this straight, the digital ID is not the charagma. So you could use it, you know, use the world but not abuse the world. But once they actually started implementing it within your body, now you're going into foreign territory, because foreign things do not belong inside your body, right? Those are foreign things, right? It says and they shall wander from sea to sea, right? Going from place to place, right? And going into what, showing you that this is really talking about America, because what was America's thing, right? Manifest destiny. From sea to sea, manifest destiny. And from north to east, right? Even, well, yeah. From north even to the east. It's like it says, they shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, and shall not find it. And that's the time that you're going to be living in. So all you jakes who wasted a lot of time BSing, right? And you know, hey, time is about up, and we can see it, right? The buzzard is about to, you know, there's 2 minutes? You get the 2-minute warning, right? You get the 2-minute warning, and you're about out of timeouts, right? Yeah, so this is Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6, right? Seek ye Yahawah, right? All caps, meaning Yahawah. But of course, you got it, BaHaSham, which means in the name. Yahawashi, which means he saves. He's salvation, right? BaHaSham, Rawchaa, QaDash, Spirit Holy, Holy Spirit, basically. While he may be found, right? Because you got to be searching, right? Because the Lord said, yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. It says, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be open unto you. Right? So you got to seek the Lord, man. For which yeah, this is red. So this is Yahawashi speaking. For everyone that seeketh, for everyone that asks, receiveth. Right? You got to ask for the Holy Spirit. You got to ask for understanding. Right? And he shall seek, and he that seeks shall find. He that seek findeth, and to him that knocketh, it shall be opened. Right? So the doors will be open to you. The understanding, the door, which meaning your understanding, the door to your mind, your heart, your understanding will be open to you. Right? Yeah, see, right there, even says effective prayer. Right? You want your prayers to go into effect. It says what? Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. Keep on asking, and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking, and you will find. Keep on knocking, and the door, right, which should be understanding, will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and to everyone who knocks, the door will be opened. Right? Yeah. So this is Isaiah chapter 55, right? 6 basically. Yeah. Seek ye Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, QaDash, while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. See, that's all it is, man. Why it's opportunity, why it's there. But as you can see, the things that the brothers have been speaking of for a long time, starting with the elders of apostles of GMS, right? Because all these other Fugazi camps never spoke of these things, man. Right? And as you can see, it's coming into fruition, right? Though it tarry, wait for it, it surely will come. It will not tarry. And we're in the time that it's not tarrying. The truth is it's real. The Bible is not a fairy tale book. You're living in biblical times right now. Clear and cut. You are. There's no way around it. It says, let the weak say I'm strong. I don't know. But yeah, we're in the time where the weak gonna have to say that they're strong. Hey, World War III is in the midst, right? But let the wicked forsake his way, right? That's your so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, right? And your Israelite foreigners. You may look like a so-called white man, but really your bloodline actually goes back to Israel, right? There was a lot of intermingling during those slavery times. So some of you may be, and then there's been mingling even on to this day, right? So your bloodline may go back to Israel, right? But you better figure it out. You better seek the Lord while he may be found, right? You may look like a Chinese person, or look like Ham, or or Japhet, right? Or what I mean, so-called Polynesian or whatever. But your bloodline actually goes back to Israel. You better figure it out, and you better figure it out fast, because the understanding of this is about to be put away, right? Says, and if forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, right? And let him return unto Yahawah, right? Because you belong to Yahawah. No matter what you look like, if your bloodline goes back to Israel, you belong to Yahawah, right? Right? Which really is dealing with the elect at this point, but still, you belong to Yahawah, BaHaSham Yahawashi, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, the Most High Yahawah, for he will abundantly pardon, right? That's the Tawah that we read about earlier, right? Those that sigh and cry for all the abominations to be done in the midst thereof, those that sigh and cry gets that pardon, that Tawah, right? For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways. That's like my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith Yahawah. Because the Lord does things in a totally different fashion, according to the scriptures, not according to your feelings, not according to the misperceptions of what you've been taught, according to the scriptures. That's it. Yeah, so this is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. It says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the spirit of the power. So, I mean, you can ask to have the spirit, but that doesn't necessarily mean the Lord's going to give it to you, especially if you're of the natural, you're not, but you could ask, right? Because who knows if you're part of this thing of ours, right? If this thing of ours that, that maybe you're those spirits from the foundation of the world, from the beginning, who follow Yahawashi through the reincarnation, through the regeneration, right? Lord willing, but regardless, it's really our duties as all Israelites is for us to follow the Lord. But you can ask, but doesn't mean you're going to necessarily get if you're just a natural man. You have to really break down those layers of carnality and thoughts, the thoughts of this world, the thoughts and the cares of this world. You got to let those things go. You got to really home in and being, gentle, meek, patient, honest, according to your people, according to your benefits, right? Because it's your benefit that you put off the weak nature, right? Matter of fact, I might have to get that, right? You have to put off the weak nature, right? Right? And it says, receive not the things of the spirit of the power of the Most High Yahweh, BaHaSham Yahawashi, for they are foolishness unto him. See? So if this thing is like, I'll pray, it seems all right, I'll try to, but this thing seems stupid. I don't know. What good is it gonna do? What is it gonna change anything? What do you mean? Why are you bringing me about this the Illuminati and the end of the world and the Karagma and this and that, man? What is it? It don't mean nothing, right? So these are the type of thing that people, they go through that, man. They go through that really because they can't receive it ultimately, right? Neither can he know them, right? You can't know these things because they are spiritually discerned, right? They're unable to discern the spirit, right? And you're unable to grasp it, But he that is spiritual judgeth all things. And seeing we're supposed to measure the time diligently in itself, and you could see that this is that time, bro. And we're living Bible. We're living and breathing the Bible. This is the living word. I mean, like I said it before, I went to this church a while back ago called the Living Word, but it was a bunch of Edomites that was teaching, but they don't know how living the word really is, bro. Like we're literally living the word right now. Yet he himself is judge of no man, see? And that's where we're trying to get to, the point that in that time when Esau rises up and come down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time, he has no way to judge us, man. The wild beasts can't kill us. The fowls from the air can't eat our carcass because you ain't on the ground dead because some wild pack of degenerate Israelites killed you, or even Edomites, right? You didn't see an apparition and give up the ghost. You know what I'm saying? Hey, there's things that are going to be happening in the earth, man. For who have known the mind of the outer one, right? Yahawah, BaHaSham Yahawashi, BaHaSham QaDash, that he may instruct him. So how can you tell the Lord how he may judge in the earth, or who he's to pick, or who he's to have mercy upon? You can't tell the Lord who he's to have mercy upon. He will have mercy on whom he will have mercy on. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. But we have the mind of Hamashiach. See, and once you have that mind of Hamashiach, Yahawashi, it puts you in a different mind frame of what's going on It's going to be scary time, but this is joyous time, bro. This is good. This is very good, man. This is the end of this thing. We'll never have to go through this stuff ever again. So we need this to happen. So this is good that they're pushing this, because this brings in the famine of the word. Yeah, so this is Ecclesiastes chapter 17, verse 5. It says, they receive the use of the 5 operations of the Adawan, yeah, the Most High, Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, QaDash. In the 6th place, he imparted them understanding, and in the 7th, speech, an interpreter of the cogitations thereof. It says counsel, right? And a tongue, right? Being able to speak, with the truth, right? To be able to basically, sing the song, speak the right words, right? And eyes, right? Spiritual eyes, not just regular eyes. You see, everybody got eyes they can see, but to be able to have a spiritual word to speak through your tongue, to have spiritual eyes to see when you see, ears to have spiritual ears to hear when you hear things, and a heart, which means heart meaning la'ab, which is meaning your mind, to have a spiritual mind when you're, observing things, being able to be spiritual. That's why I said he that is spiritual, judge of all things, right? You'll be able to judge with your mind, heart. It says, gave he them to understand, right? Wherewith he filled them with the knowledge, right? And understanding of Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, right? And shewed them good and evil, right? Because especially in a time where you call good evil and evil good, it's a good thing to be able to divide what it says, to rightly divide the word of truth, right? So you know what's actually good and what's actually evil, right? You're not just going off of some vain opinion or things that you have been taught. Because you should see how my aunt or my mom look at me and I speak, or even my sister. They look at me like, and they can see the things I'm saying has to be correct. Like, I'm not saying thing, but to them, it's like it's still foreign, right? It's a foreign thing to them. The actual truth is foreign to them, and they're afraid. But they don't really want to convert over either. You know what I mean? They want to still do their own thing. They want to be under that old plantation Christianity, believing whatever. Like, that's, that's great. Like, that's easy to believe to them, right? That's something they could swallow, I guess. I'm gonna skip down here to 25. It says, but basically that's Ecclesiastes 17:25 says, return unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa, QaDash, which is Adawan, right? Lord, which means Adawan, which that's how you say Lord in the Hebrew, which is Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, and forsake thy sins, make thy prayers before his face, and offend less, right? Which means stop sinning, right? And you're not going to do it overnight, so that's why I said do it less and less and less and less until until that perfect day when he actually makes you perfect, and then you won't do it at all. But even now, we all sin in some type of shape, form, whatever, but we do it less. We don't do it just you just throw yourself out there. You gotta offend less, for sure. Especially things you can control. You gotta be able to control those things. You can control whether you should go and steal something, right? You control that. You control whether you go commit adultery. You control whether you, well, if you're paying attention, should I say, because sometimes, people get caught up in life, but you should be able to not have sex on the Sabbath or something like that, just give it as an example. I know it happens here and there, time is going fast, people not paying attention, and you oh Lord, I didn't even, you pray, hey, and hopefully, that's the whole point of, grace. But it's not, you just, I don't care, I'll just pray, I'll just ask him to forgive me. Well, then that's going into like the same way that the Lord did away with the sacrifice in the first place. You can't just be, I'll just make a prayer, I'll just do the sacrifice later, I'll just do, nah, that's not what it's about, right? You can't have that type of heart. You got to. That's why it says turn away. Turn again. So wait, turn again to the Most High. So and that's why it's always says turn from your sins. And then it says turn again to the Most High, right? Which is Yahawah, right? Through its only begotten Son, which is Yahawashi, and turn away from iniquity, right? Which is your sins, right? For he will lead thee out of darkness, which is America, which also, your sins and your ways is darkness too, right? Into light of health. Into the light of health, right? Right? Hey, everybody want that, right? And hate thou abominations vehemently, right? You got to hate your sin. You got to hate all the things you've done with a passion, vehemently, right? Yeah, so this is Isaiah chapter 19, verse 4, right? And the Egyptians, right, which that's what you Americans are, right? It's because this place is also known as spiritual Egypt, right? Right along with, and also Babylon. That's why you will hear brothers call you either Babylonians. Most of the time brothers call you Babylonians, but you're also known as Egyptians too, right? Because this place is also spiritually Egypt and Babylon, and Sodom and Gomorrah too. But it says I will give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, right? So that's this place, America. You're in the hand of a cruel Lord, right? Satan's coming down with great wrath, knowing he has but a short time. So then, basically, what are they doing? They're closing up the ability to be able to hear the word and know the word, especially since they're about to bring in the QaDash, right? And it says, into a hand of a cruel Lord, which is Donald J. Trump, Nero 47, right? Right. He was Nero 45 and Nero 47, right? But Nero 47 is the cruel Lord, though, right? And it says, which is Donald J. Trump, and a fierce king, which that's what he's doing. He's making moves, giving money to Argentina without asking Congress. But then when it comes to so-called giving some type of subsidies to the people, they were saying they were going to pull it out of some type of fund, some type of hidden fund. Basically the same way that they said they did Argentina. They said they pulled it out of it wasn't from the necessarily from the taxpayers, but it was money that they put away. And this is like a fund they rarely use. They only used it a couple of times. Used it like in 1995, 1998, 2008 or 9 or something like that. But it's spaced out. But and they'll essentially go help out other countries here and there, and this and this and that. And so it's equating to that Trump is trying to give value back to the dollar, but really it's actually I mean, in theory, it makes sense, but all in all, it's gonna crumble. Everything is gonna crumble. This is all falling apart. It says the fierce king shall rule over them, right? Saith Yahawah, saith the outer one, right? Yahawah, BaHaSham Yahawashi of hosts. And right, see, going into this whole thing because they did the thing with the agriculture, and then let their number 2, or I think the dude said something about their number 2 competitor in the world for soybean seeds was Argentina, and so Argentina made all the money that they were supposed to make, and it says the waters, right, shall fail, right? Your things that you're doing for your agriculture, that thing is, and from says shall fail from sea, from the sea to the river shall be waste and dried up, right? So we're coming to a time that, they're already talking about droughts and all sorts of things, but you need water to put down crops, which that's about to all dry up too. But that's like another form of it drying up, because they gave that money to Argentina, and now you're sitting around with a bunch of soybeans you can't sell, right? It says, and they shall turn the rivers far away, which I believe the elites are the ones who's pumping out a lot of this water, because they about to go to their bunkers. What are they going to drink? What are they going to have? right? And they got these water infiltration systems that can filter it out and clean it and make it really like crisp and good. And hey, they need it for them, so they could take showers and baths, and they could do things. They could go jump into a swimming pool. You know, they got these underground cities. There's swimming pools everywhere. Like, bro, you know it's decked out down there, bro. And they need that water. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be all yeah. So I think that's what they're doing. That's just my opinion. It says, and allegedly, right? And the brooks of defense, right? See, and that's going into the food, the agriculture, the farmland, the what do you call it? America, the heartland of America. The farmers are the defense. They're the brooks of defense. Shall be empty, see, and dried up, and the reeds of flags shall wither, right? And that's their opportunity to make money, and that whole opportunity of being agricultures and farmers. That thing is all withered away. It's not what it's done, basically, right? Yeah. So this is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 4. It says, and these are the words of Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, spake concerning Israel, right, which is the northern kingdom, right, and concerning Judah, right, which is the southern kingdom, right, which all 12 tribes are here in America, Babylon the Great, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American are here. That's those tribes, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. For thus saith Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, we have heard a voice of trembling, right, because hey, it's about to be a fearful thing to live in America real soon. Of fear and not of peace, right? Because there ain't going to be no peace here. They're going to say peace, peace, right? But sudden what destruction is coming to this place, man, right? That's why he's trying to be known as a president of peace. But I mean, how did you expect to win a Nobel Peace Prize, but then you're setting a military right in your city streets? But I need to put Nobel Peace Prize, Then the most heinous war you have ever seen, right? Because this thing is pretty much damn near on live on TV, damn near, right? They don't show too much, but I mean, you know what's going on in Gaza more than you would know anything. Like if Vietnam was this time, man, from what you know or what you've seen or how they reenact Vietnam, which was horrible, imagine that having this way that you could see and know the things that's going on, like in Gaza, right? Which they're trying to suppress that too. They suppress that as much as they can. But I mean, you're hearing of people who's humanitarians. How do you get blown up for being a humanitarian? Like, it's crazy, right? So you're in trembling times, right? A voice of trembling, of fear and not of peace, right? Because hey, you got the cruel Lord. Ask ye now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Right? Have you ever seen a man have a baby? Hell no, that has never happened. Wherefore doeth I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail. It's like, dang, these dudes look like they finna have a baby. They ain't so much fear. That fear is gripping on them. And that's the time that you're living in the time of the cruel Lord. Right? Time when they're gonna cause you to receive that mark, that charagma. Right, with famine, right, drying up the water, drying up the thing, the ability for even your farmers, your defense. When the farmers are meant to be your defense, and they can't defend you, right? It's going to be a lot of starvation here, right? And then they want to bring in some mad cow disease, allegedly, right? Trying to say you can get Argentina's beef. Well, Argentina's beef has been known to have yeah, I forgot the name of the phrase, but it's basically like mad cow. Right? It's tainted meat, man. It's not good. But that's what they want to bring into you to lower the prices of beef. Right? Right? You're not getting a fair exchange. So it says, wherefore doeth I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness, right? Hey, man. Frightenness, man. A lot of race wars, fights, things are going to be breaking out. Famine, Man, yeah. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition amongst men and invading one another, right? That's what's coming very soon. Right? Race wars, right? These things that they're building up. This Republican against Democrat, or MAGA against Antifa, or Patriots against, I guess, everybody else, right? Right? Because the MAGA said that they're patriots, right? And it says, invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, right? Which that's already happening now. Like, some people are ready to grab up their elected officials and do some bodily harm to them, right? Delete them, because these are the people who go to Senate and go to the thing, and especially with this whole this government shutdown. Hey man, the person that's your local representative, your local senator of whatever state you live in, it's to blame it on the Democrats and not blame it on the Republican. It's basically both parties' fault. This is supposed to be the United States of America, not the divided States of America. But we see this place is very divided, and that's what's happening, right? Because even though they're playing like they're divided, it's all to be in one consent into bringing the collapse to the dollar, right? To this economy, to bring in the charagma, right? But people's perception is division, and they're gonna interact with that division. So what it says, and the cause of their actions shall stand in their powers. And that's when people are kind of, and once people finally get, once they lose everything, people are going to lose it, right? And it's going to stand. That's when, boom, all hell's going to break loose. And a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And of course, problem, reaction, solution. Now they come in, I'm President Donald J. Trump, and I know what to do in this situation. I told you there was crime and this and that. I'm this king of peace, and I'm coming to bring peace, because you're talking about a no kings protest. No, I'm going to show you that I'm the king, and I'm going to show you I'm going to bring law and order, right? Now you got to get the charagma. Now you have to get the digital ID, right? It's perfect plan to bring in the digital ID, right? And people are going to be willing, and because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. See? Fighting, all these different things are going to be happening. They're going to be all these different, civil war, basically. It's going to be going on. It's going to go for a while. A lot of deaths, a lot of killing, a lot of different bad things. And houses shall be destroyed, right? See? Right? When you don't got no place to live, you got things, and say you do survive. If you do survive, guess what? We have these smart cities. So don't worry about your house being destroyed. We got you. It's okay. Right? And who knows if the elite don't come in. While you're doing all that fighting, it may be the elite that come in or send their their little, what do you call it? These crisis actors, or, military people, right? Allegedly, and start the fires to a lot of these houses and a lot of these buildings. Now you don't have no place to go back to. I mean, it's kind of what they were doing in Gaza, right? But it got to be another way to get you to get out of your building to places where you won't need the government. Now you're going to need the government, because you won't be there. Cities you can't go into and shall not be able, right? And then you're going to be looking for help for because of their power, the city shall be troubled, and houses houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. See, talking about have you ever seen a man with his hands on his hips, on his loins, like a woman in travail? A men will be afraid, huh? All right. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. The modern day sword is the gun, and whatever they can get their hand on of destruction. Destroy their neighbor, destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods. Take what they have, right? Right. The most valuable thing in the world is going to be water in that time. Not your gold, not your silver, not your money, not your little your goodies, right? Because of the lack of bread. Right, and then there is going to be not just a famine of the word, but it's also truly going to be a famine of bread and of water, right? Because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation, right? Verse 16, and he, right, that cruel Lord, right? The Lord says he's going to have that cruel Lord, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, which he's just a puppet, right? We understand that, but he's doing the bidding of the elites. Same thing with the, was it Macron or whatever his name is in France, and I don't know the prime minister in England, the one who just came out and said about everybody must have a digital ID, and they're doing it fast too. They're not even giving them all year. They're telling them they have to have it by January. So you're talking about, what is this, November, December? So you're talking 2 months. So I guess they're getting like 3 months. So everybody better be in compliance in about 3 months. I know what's his name did that. Vietnam, which they shut down a lot of people's accounts in Vietnam. But that shows you that the time is getting shorter because they're only giving them 3 months. Vietnam had a year. I did a lesson on Ethiopia. They gave Ethiopia a year. They told Ethiopia they have from June of this year, June of 2025, or May or June of 2025 to May or June of 2026 to have all their stuff in. But for England, they say, hey, it better be done in the next 3 months, or you're shut out. You will not have a job. You will not have anything unless you get the digital ID. So they're playing hard ball over there, right? So we're in that time. So it's not the mark of the beast, right? All right, it's not that mark, but you're moving closer to it. Like, I mean, and they're even operating it pretty much in that fashion, right? They're telling you if you don't have it, right? And he calleth all, both small, great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, right? Which could be your left hand or your right hand, because in the other scripture it says hand, right? Right hand, left hand, anywhere in your body. If you receive it, right? You're not supposed to receive it. It's a foreign object. No foreign objects are supposed to be going inside your body, especially one that the Lord told you not to have, right? And that no man might buy or sell, save, right? Trying to save yourself, save he that had the mark, right? The Karagma, the Crocs, the Grapho, or the number of the beast, or the number of his name. See? And that's the time that you're living in, right there. So the cruel Lord is about to push this time, this era, shut out the word, put in, which is be the famine of the word, and actually bring in the actual famine, right? And then through the famine, when you can't buy and sell, when you don't have a place to live, guess what? Oh, guess what? I have these newly developed smart cities, and in these smart cities, there's plenty of food there, right? Yeah, you will have a social credit score, and we will tell you what you could buy and what you could sell and how much you consume, but it beats fighting each other for the lack of bread. Which one do you want? Right? So, call Loyum, Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. Like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect. The elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father, and have come back to the fold. Shalom to your sisters, you Achwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Baba Ball, Kwam Yasharallah.